This is Part 3, Episode 138. The 6 magical beasts were all the same, earth dragons. Every one of them was comparable to the ice dragon issued from McDull's transformation, and they belonged to the 6 different elements. Are these earth dragons for real? Even if they were of the same element, they couldn't possibly have exactly the same appearance. It means that these 6 came from Chen Yinger's self-created magic. As a mage, Li Xin had never before heard that a summoner at the supreme boundary would be able to call out magical beasts exactly like in his imagination, and let them wield the greatest degree of power. At that very moment, Chen Yinger's magic seemed very close to this boundary. These 6 earth dragons should, from their auras, be reaching the 8th step, although not at the level of McDull's previous transformation, which reached the peak of this 8th step. They were only close to human powerhouses of the 7th step. But Lin Xin was also at the 7th step. Even if in his opinion his power was much greater than ordinary 7th step cultivators, his chances of victory against these 6 magic beasts of the 7th step of different elements were extremely tiny. Furthermore, right after appearing, the 6 of them separated to 6 spots to make a formation making up the shape of 6-colored magic hexagonal constellation. What are they up to? Combinatorial magic. Chen Yinger didn't keep chanting, only floating in mid-air, showing a mocking smile on her cute face. Her look at Lin Xin became full of evil. In a flash of light, Chen Yinger landed in the center of these 6 earth dragons, lifting her crystal ball high and muttering some chants. Then, the 6 earth dragons immediately lifted their heads to spit in their own element, 6 glows which gathered onto her crystal ball, converging into the shape of a 6-colored whirlpool. Afar, Lin Xin miserably pleaded, "Yinger, we are on the same side, don't aim at my face." Right at this time, a 6-colored glow was shot from Chen Yinger's crystal ball. Lin Xin unconsciously launched bursting fireballs in an attempt of resistance, but upon contact with that glow, they immediately dissolved, and didn't have the slightest effects. The 6-colored glow landed directly onto Lin Xin. If Hao Chen hadn't determined that Chen Yinger wouldn't wound Lin Xin, he would have stopped that exchange of blows from going on. Hit by the 6-colored glow, Lin Xin immediately had a strange look. 6 flickers of lights of different colors flashed, to the extent that his skin was not visible anymore. All that was visible were fluctuations of those 6 colors, as his body was congealed at that spot, just like a sculpture. "Come back." Chen Yinger waved hands, then those 6 dragons turned their heads and returned through their own gates, which closed afterwards, signaling the termination of her magic. Chen Yinger pouted towards McDull, "Go pay him back his previous acts of bullying." McDull showed a grin and transformed once again, this time turning into a kangaroo-shaped magical beast, bouncing and vivacious, coming in front of Lin Xin. What are kangaroos expert in? Boxing. So a certain previously extremely arrogant guy became immediately miserable. Still, McDull still left Lin Xin some face. Despite a painful beating of 5 minutes, he really didn't hit his face. Otherwise, he really would have beaten Lin Xin into looking like a pig as well as a fool. Ouch! It really hurts. I don't accept that, not at all. After Lin Xin's body was bound by the 6-colored glows for no less than 10 minutes, they gradually dispersed. Finally, he recovered his ability of movement, bellowing in outrage. Chen Yinger snorted to him, "Come back if you don't accept this. This lady is reserving a special treatment to you." Long Hao Chen chuckled, Now. Stop quarreling now." Lin Xin really lost, but Yinger, he didn't use any of his most powerful abilities against you out of fear of wounding you. Otherwise, the menace to you would be for real. Was that summoning spell from before self-created? I haven't ever heard of such a thing. Chen Yinger proudly replied, "Yes. I have created it personally. It's inspired by Hao Yue's essence of disorder. Although I cannot use such a kind of magic, I've been thinking, maybe I can make such magic through summons. I have made a lot of attempts, and finally succeeded. The earth dragons from before were a first experimental product, made by using magic crystals. In times of need, I can summon them at any time, and although the summoning magic requires a rather long time, that's because these self-created earth dragons can evolve over time. Their flaw is a lack of battle instincts, but I can manipulate them like puppets. Just like McDull, they will evolve as my strength increases." Chen Yinger's explanation may sound simple, but any other that hears her would show great shock. These were 6 earth dragons of different elements, made thanks to magic crystals and summoning magic. The difficulty of such a feat is as much as one may well imagine. In other words, Chen Yinger was not only able to summon, but also to create her own beasts. "I'm the spiritual saint girl. and that's a personal ability I gained after becoming a god's chosen one, spirit bestowal. As long as I wish for it, I can even bestow a spirit to a stone. However, my number of spiritual bestowals is limited. Using it will use up some of my soul force, so I cannot use it excessively. The good thing is that the summoned beasts, whose souls are linked with mine, will all evolve as my cultivation progresses. Listening to her explanation, everyone felt in a daze. Chen Ying's ability as spiritual saint girl may sound a bit complex, but thinking carefully, everyone couldn't help but feel chills. She had the power to create magical beasts and bestow on them a potential for evolution. This ability may not sound too flashy at its initial uses, but as Chen Ying's cultivation progresses, her created magical beasts will be bound to become far more powerful. And when she reaches the 9th step, wouldn't that mean she will have a batch of powerful magical beasts that don't use up any spiritual energy ready to assist her? Because these magical beasts were originally created and modeled based on Chen Ying's thoughts, their contract gives her complete control over them, all of which are far beyond compare with ordinary summons. Certainly magical beasts of 6 different elements, capable of using combinatorial magic, already exceeds, by far the scope of ordinary summoners. After pondering for a short time, Long Haochen interpreted, Yinga, can I understand it like this? That this ability as spiritual saint girl gives you a batch of supplementary contracted beasts? Chen Yinga giggled, that's about it. My awakening was a short time ago, so I'm still not proficient with this ability, and can at most control these 6 magical beasts. Long Haochen remarked, the chanting time for your summon was rather slow. If this issue can be resolved, things will be perfect. Also, what happens if they die? Are you able to resurrect them? And even if they are resurrected, will they still retain their ability of evolution and not stop evolving? Long Haochen's question hit at the most sensible part. Chen Ying's ability was quite strong, but if it had limitations in these aspects, more preconditions would have to be met in order for it to display the best uses of it in the battlefield. Chen Ying gave it a thought and replied, the chanting time is no issue. I can find ways to shorten the chant. And these little dragons were only created a bit ago, so the contract still needs to be perfected. As they evolve and the contract grows, the chanting time will steeply decline. And when I become powerful enough, I will be able to summon them just like McDull. But they indeed cannot die, because if they do, all the previous efforts will be wasted, and I can then only restart from scratch. Of course, no matter whether they are created by me or not, all my creatures that have been spirit bestowed will have their ability influenced by my current state. In other words, the stronger I get, the stronger my magical beasts linked through spirit bestowal will get. Long Haochen smiled faintly, you have to make good efforts then. I believe that this ability should have a great potential for development. It may show even greater uses in the future than now. Chen Yinga responded with some pride, that's a matter of course. I'm a useful part of our bright glimmers of hope. Long Haochen declared, since we are already in these training fields, let's practice some battle tactics, in order to be ready to be tested by your grandfather tomorrow. Although everyone in the team held an absolute confidence, and had their mutual understanding raised from their previous experiences, everyone had grown in different aspects in these 2 years of training. With the addition of Zhong Fangfang that they gained, they needed some practice to perform the greatest display of their strength. Yeah. Chen Yinga nodded as the proud smile on her face vanished, giving way to a faint trace of grief flashing through her eyes. Long Haochen's sharp sense of observation came on display, giving a comforting response, don't worry, heaven will help the worthy. They will be all right. Chen Yinga pouted, but they were caught for so long already. Will they really be all right? Lin Xin remarked, haven't you been rejecting Yang Wenjiao all this time? How come you are incomparably more worried than any other time, when he gets caught? Chen Yinga mysteriously didn't show any prepared retort, and slightly raised her head, looking at the horizon. She murmured, I have known him since we were very young. At that time, he was a few years older than me. We used to live in Holy City, frequently meeting each other. I called him Big Bro Wenjiao, and he called me Yinga. Outside of our times of cultivation, he always took me out to have fun and eat some good food. When anyone dared bully me, he always dealt with the matter for me, beating up the bully into an unrecognizable shape. He treated me even better than my related older brother, and at that time, when I was still young, I used to ask him, Big Brother Wenjiao, can I marry you when we grow up? To that, he replied, okay. Then I will be waiting for you to grow up. Who knew that some adults heard about our childish talks, and Big Brother Yangzhao's grandfather proposed marriage to my grandfather, who accepted very happily, and that's how the matter of our marriage came to be. Afterwards, as I grew up, and my times of cultivation increased, the chances for us to meet decreased. He became a lot more serious and powerful, while I couldn't even use a single summoning spell for some reason. At that time, grandfather hadn't told me the secret of the spiritual saint girl, and I always believed that I had no way to become a powerful summoner, making me feel especially inferior. Once he brought me out, and we ran into some rude guys from the warrior temple. At that time, we were still much younger, and although Big Brother Yangzhao was pretty strong, he couldn't beat those much older guys. At that time, I saw the deep look of outrage in his eyes. At that time, still young, I declared, Big Brother Yangzhao, don't get hurt. After I grow up, I will surely protect you. At that time, he turned his head exaggeratedly and gave me a very bizarre look. I won't ever forget that contempt he showed. When I asked, why are you looking at me like that? He replied, you will never have to protect me. I will be the one to protect you. Although I have lost today, I won't lose again in the future. Then, I asked him, why can't I protect you? He laughed and didn't give a reply. At that time, I felt really hurt. You may think that this isn't anything, but it was a very severe blow to me. He was the dearest person in my eyes outside my relatives, and one I cared the most about. And that was the time I had the most feelings of inferiority. His act of contempt and silent jeer deeply wounded me, and from that day onwards, I kept ignoring him. Hearing Chen Yinga's story, everyone couldn't help but fill up with pity. As the granddaughter of the spiritual temple's chief, unable to use any summoning magic, the pressure subjecting Chen Yinga was as great as one may well imagine. Maybe what Yang Wenjiao did may not sound like anything, and was perhaps devoid of malice. But in those circumstances, at that time, his act wounded Chen Yinga a lot. Lin Xin remarked, so that's because of your wounded ego. Since you ignored him from that point onwards, why are you becoming so agitated now? Chen Yinga replied unhappily, do you think everyone is as unsensible as you? The fact that I ignored him didn't mean I stopped caring about him. I have always been following his matters with attention, and swear that I won't marry unless I defeat him one day, having him wait all this time, until his hair turn white if need be. Humph. Lin Xin showed shivers, the fury of a girl is so fearful. But I estimate that he won't be able to defeat you now. Chen Yinga's eyes turned red, starting to sob, but by now, I don't even know if he's still alive. What difference does it make whether I can defeat him or not? Wang Yuan stepped in, foolish girl, acting so tough. For this little matter, you held a grudge for so long. So no wonder you never paid any attention to him, and even refused to join his demon hunt squad. What a girl. Don't worry, we will surely go all out to find him and help you accomplish your wish to defeat him. Chen Yinga responded, choking with sobs, I already have no more desire to defeat him. As long as he survives, I can forgive him and forget my answer. But I don't even know where he could be by now, and whether he's even alive. Long Haochen asked after pondering for a short time, Yinga, is there a Yui moonlit chamber of commerce in the Myriad Beasts mountain pass? Hearing his question, Chen Yinga's eyes lit up immediately, right. We can ask for clues from them. There's surely a moonlit Yui chamber of commerce. They are the current largest conglomeration of free merchants. Let me go look for them. She ran out in a rush. Long Haochen stopped her with haste, Yinga, don't let your emotions get the better of you. Let's do this, we will do some simple practice for battle tactics, and then I will accompany you to look for the moonlit Yui chamber of commerce. By showing them the insignia Yui gave me, we should be able to get their help. We should at least learn about the situation Yang Wenjiao and Duan Yi are in before setting out. At the same time, we will be undergoing your grandfather's test while looking for information. Right, didn't you say that you have your means to counter the domain of your grandfather? Chen Yinga nodded, the domains wielded by us summoners are almost all aimed at boosting summoned beasts. Summoners of higher levels almost all have their own contracted beast, so their domain is either inclined at strengthening their contracted beast or boosting it overall. My grandfather's domain is of the former type, mainly boosting his contracted beast. My spiritual bestowal has another use, and that's on the opposing magical beast, to weaken it greatly for a short time, and facilitate me bringing it to submission. Grandfather is much stronger than me, so even with the spiritual saint robe, I can't weaken his contracted beast too much. But I can reduce greatly the amplification provided by his domain. Long Houchen replied in a flash, so that's how things are. Your ability, as spiritual saint girl, is really practical. Chen Yinger continued, we summoners hold belief in mythological beasts. In the legends, the mythological beasts' realm cannot interfere with the elemental gods, which is why they can hardly make miraculous descents. The spiritual saint girl was sent into the human world as a guide for the magical beasts. That's why her abilities are mostly directed at magical beasts. At my current level of cultivation, the boosts are observable, but when my cultivation grows further, these boosts will not be as obvious as now. Wang Yuan asked in curiosity, Yinger, what's your grandfather's contracted beast? I am starting to believe that thanks to your rebellion, our chances of victory will be quite good. Chen Yinger snorted, how could it be so easy? My grandfather is presently the person with the most knowledge regarding magical beasts there is. As the psychic master he is, I have yet to see his limits. Just think, how come our myriad beasts mountain pass remained so invulnerable to attacks ever since the start of the Holy War? The tides of beasts we call out are even more numerous than the demons. Even those 8 demon gods couldn't bring out my grandfather's full strength. Winning against him will be extremely hard, we can only stall out as much as possible. The greatest shortcoming of summoners, such as us, is our weak killing force. As long as we last for long enough, we will prove our sufficient strength to grandfather. I will hold up grandfather's contracted beast. Big Sis Xingxian likes me the most, and will surely be unwilling to make fierce moves. Big Sister Xingxian. Lin Xin asked in puzzlement, could your grandfather's summoned beast be a human-shaped beast? Chen Yinger showed a mysterious smile, of course not. It's just that Big Sis Xingxian is a girl. When the time comes, you can't go round her either. Let me tell you everything. Next day. In the morning, Long Houchen's group looked up high outside the temple, waiting calmly. According to my calculations, they should arrive around that time. Long Houchen murmured. They were waiting for Han Yu and Sima Xian's return. Long Houchen had a good understanding of Star King's flight speed, and the distance between the southern mountain pass and the Myriad Beasts mountain pass being in addition rather short. A day and a night should be enough for Han Yu to smoothly find Sima Xian and be back. The day before, Chen Yinger already promised to set the test on this afternoon. Based on her understanding of this grandfather and his strong ideology, in case they arrived late, she was afraid his impression would steeply decline, causing an increase in the difficulty of the test. If not for the hurry of the matter of saving Yang Wenjiao and Du Enyi, they could take it much easier and wait for Sima Xian and Han Yu to be back before planning things more thoroughly. But time awaits no one. By being just a bit later to depart, the danger for Yang Wenjiao and Du Enyi would only increase. The Yuyi Chamber of Commerce had already contacted Long Houchen, agreeing to investigate the circumstances of Yang Wenjiao's group. They had their own sources of information, and shouldn't take too long to send news. At the same time, Long Houchen heard another piece of information. After the time Arbao led the encirclement of their demon hunt squad, Yuyi immediately expressed her intention to cancel their engagement after returning to demon territory. Even the personal attempt of persuasion from the moon demon god couldn't change her thoughts. Her justification was simple. How could a man who views the act of killing the enemy higher than her become her husband? Maybe Arbao made the right decision as the demon's crown prince, but Yuyi was absolutely unwilling to marry such a man, even if she was killed otherwise. The demon god emperor didn't declare his position, and even Arbao remained silent. After all, Arbao didn't have a good justification to insist on the matter. So in the end, the engagement wasn't cancelled, but postponed for an undesignated period. From what was said, Arbao re-entered secluded training, planning on increasing his strength by training as if his life depended on it. This piece of news was just a theatrical episode that Long Houchen didn't put in his mind. But he was unaware that Arbao's rancor towards him increased even further due to that matter. As the Devil Dragon's crown prince, Arbao took great pains that even surpassed Long Houchen's. In the near future, Arbao wanted to go find Long Houchen at all cost as if they were predestined opponents. They won't have the time to rest if they don't arrive soon. Chen Yinga was also extremely worried. If Sima Xian could be back along with Han Yu now, they would have the time to take a rest while discussing strategy and tactics. But as time passed, minutes after minutes and seconds after seconds, there was still no sight of them. Long Houchen breathed deeply and turned his stance towards the others. Everyone, be prepared to deal with Temple Head Chen without the two of them. This test cannot be delayed, and we must show results. Yes. The death of Zhong Fangfang's former demon hunt squad was a very severe blow. On this day, joining Wang Yuanyuan's demon hunt squad was like the accomplishment of one of his cherished desires. Furthermore, he could this way keep company with Wang Yuanyuan. He was very satisfied with that. At this very moment, Long Houchen suddenly flickered his brows, looking far into the sky. It was currently totally empty, with nothing else than the blue sky in sight. As everyone was wondering what Long Houchen was mysteriously watching, a little golden dot came to sight very far away, and it enlarged at a frightening speed. Wasn't that the returning Star King? Star King had 2 passengers on his wide back. Han Yu was seated on the front, but his figure couldn't conceal the imposing stature behind him. A large bald head came to sight behind his head, releasing light essence not inferior in the slightest to the one coming out from Star King's body. They are here, they are here. That's really them. Lin Xin excitedly bounced. Sima Xian's return meant that all the members of their 64th Commander Grade Demon Hunt Squad were finally reunited. And it also meant that the Demon Hunt Squad was back to a whole, and that was the only way for them to be the bright glimmer of hope. With even only one member less, it wouldn't be complete. In the past, Lin Xin used to frequently be noisy alongside with Sima Xian, but as a matter of fact, the two of them had extremely good relationships. Seeing that Baldai once again, Lin Xin found it hard to contain his emotions, couldn't help but hop and bounce while waving at him excitedly. Long Houchen's handsome face became flushed due to the excitement. His fists were gripped tightly. Sima and Han Yu are back. So we are finally reunited. At this time, he only had the feeling that no matter what challenges they encounter, they will break through them inevitably. Star King's traveling speed was really fast. For the sake of returning on time, he maintained a top speed all this time. At the time of landing, his body let out a burst of golden steam without losing speed until then, thanks to his level of cultivation. Sima Xian took the lead to jump down from Star King's back, and laughed out heartily, opening his arms wide in front of everyone. Han Yu followed closely behind, and at that very moment, the members from Bright Glimmer of Hope all became incomparably excited. Apart from Caia, who showed somewhat less excitement, the others all couldn't help but dash in acclamation, tightly hugging each other. They were finally reunited. Regardless of whether they call themselves 64th Commander Grade Demon Hunt Squad or Bright Glimmer of Hope, they were back to their initial setup. Zhong Fangfang was standing on the side, looking at them with intense envy. Recalling his deceased companions, he couldn't bear to leak out tears. Who knew how many more demon hunters had died for the sake of the Alliance, for the sake of humanity? After more than 6,000 years past, when will humankind finally drive out all demons? Lin Xin beat Sima Xian's fist with all his force. How could you be so slow? Making us so anxious. Han Yu couldn't help but react to these words before Sima Xian even opened his mouth. Slow. That was slow to you. See how Star King is exhausted. He has been flying at full speed all this time, and is already at his limit. If you're speaking of slow, that would be Sima's fault. You have no idea of how heavy he is. For normal flight, Star King would have no problem carrying the two of us. But for an express flight, the addition of his weight was sure to slow us down. This video will end here.